From 2019, I came to Delhi and I cleared mains as well. So far, I have given 6 prelims. I cleared all the 6. I gave 6 CSE mains and 3 forest mains as well. So total 9 mains.
Oh my God. So that is a very big journey.
Yes.
So that
ma'am.
means you're saying you started preparing in 2017, which is
Yes.
when you first cleared your
Yes, ma'am.
prelims.
Yes, ma'am. 2017.
So it's been 9 mains that you have
Yes,
written.
9 mains and 4 interviews. This was my 4th interview.
Wow.
2 civils interview and 2 forest interviews.
So a very long journey, Abhishek.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to an interaction with Abhishek, who has secured All India rank 49 in this year's IFoS exam. Welcome, Abhishek.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, Abhishek, I would like to begin with what was your journey like? I know a bit of it, but I want to start from what was your educational background? How did you think of doing UPSC? And then take it forward from there.
Our journey has been quite long. I have done my master's in mathematics from BITS Pilani. And after that, I realized towards the end that I don't want to pursue future career in mathematics. And I was looking for opportunities. And I thought UPSC would fit my personalities better. So that's how I started. I gave my first attempt in 2017. And I could clear prelims and give mains because I cleared prelims. So I was not really prepared. And again, for first 2 attempts, it went on like that. I wasn't really prepared. I didn't have right direction at that time. But from 2019, I came to Delhi and I cleared mains as well. So far, I have given 6 prelims. I cleared all the 6. I gave 6 CSE mains and 3 forest mains as well. So total 9 mains.
Oh my God. So that is a very big journey.
Yes.
So that
ma'am.
means you're saying you started preparing in 2017, which is
Yes.
when you first cleared your
Yes,
prelims.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 2017.
So it's been 9 mains that you have
Yes,
written.
9 mains and 4 interviews. This was my 4th interview.
Wow.
2 civils interview and 2 forest interviews.
So a very long journey, Abhishek.
Yes, ma'am, indeed.
So first of all, I would like to ask you, what was your reaction when you realized that you've made it?
It was disbelief. I was so habitual of not seeing my name in the list that for 5 minutes, I just couldn't believe it. And it didn't sink in for 2-3 days, I think.
Right. And what was your parents' reaction? Because I think first and foremost, you're not the only one who's seen this long
Yes.
years. I think your parents have played an your family has played an
Yes,
equally
ma'am.
supportive role. So what was your
Definitely.
parents' reaction?
It was very special. They were incredibly emotional and relieved, happy that finally I can now feel better about myself, because this long journey makes you question your worth.
Right.
Continuous repeated failures. Yes, you are resilient. Yes, you want to do better. You are disciplined. Everything is there, but ultimately, every failure takes away something from you. It makes you feel less and less worthy. So finally, they were relieved that I would get out of that frame of mind. They were not that. I mean, they didn't need my success to be proud of me. But yes, they were relieved. They were very emotional. And that was the
I like
reaction.
the way you said that every failure takes away a part of
Yes.
us, and I hope this success brings it back multifold for you, Abhishek, because I, for one, know your dedication. I've seen your sincerity and I have always acknowledged it. And I think it's important here to mention that you have to have a core group of people who trust in you. Because yes, failures are difficult, but it's the resilience and it's the not give up attitude which I think really plays a very important role in a big way, in a longer life. All right. So I'm sure your parents are very, very
Yes,
proud,
ma'am.
and you've given them that moment where they can now finally know that their son is being taken care of. Right. So one more thing, Abhishek, I really am amazed to know that you have always cleared prelims, and in
Yes,
my
ma'am.
interactions with you, whenever I used to ask you that prelims around the corner, you were a little worried, and you were never worried about it. How is it that so many people, we come across so many people who don't even get a chance to write the mains because pre is the first hurdle
Yes,
that they are unable to cross. So the skill set that is required for you to clear the prelims, I want you to share a bit of about that. Also because forest services requires a higher cutoff. So
Yes.
that means you've not just cleared prelims always, you've also made it with a big margin so that you can. So this is something that students are going to be very, very excited to know. And before we start this, no matter what the teachers say, I think what makes more sense is what a peer says. So
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
not just so they listen to what you say. So can you share your strategy about clearing the prelims?
Yes. There are a couple of factors. First is, of course, your basic preparation. And I have come across many people who do wrong things under influence of somebody. But one thing that everyone should realize that without clear basics, you cannot clear pre. And if your basics are clear, nobody can stop you from clearing pre. Because कोई भी पेपर आ जाए, any paper that may come in front of you of any coaching institute or any prelims paper, you of CSC or Forest, you will always get 60 questions from basics. 60, 65, 70. At least that. There will be 10-15 questions from polity, equal number of questions from basic economics, equal number of questions from basic, 10 questions from basic environment, maybe rest of them are from current, then geography, then basic history questions. There will always be in any paper 60 to 70 questions like that. Out of that, if you get 50 correct, you're through.
Yeah.
That is the strategy. I mean,
that's very smart also, I
Yes.
think. So basically what you're saying is that instead of running after the aberrations and instead of
Yes.
running after those things that may come, it is
Yes.
very important to focus on the core fundamentals.
Definitely. And that is what many people miss out on. That rather than focusing more on basics of core subjects, they try to run around new material or new current affairs, this and that. So it is unwise. That is first point. Second point is, of course, why when you are giving the paper, nobody will know all the 100 questions. Nobody will know. At the most, like my highest has been around 60 questions. That in the first go, I attempted 60 questions, of which I'm sure about 85 to 90% I have gotten correct. Nobody knows that much. It varies around. If you get that number around 45 to 50, you're through. And rest of the questions, you have to make educated guesses. You have to use your analytical mind, your logical brain to get those extra marks.
Right.
So there, I think role of mock tests is crucial, and one needs to give those mock tests in correct way. So what I mean by that is, because anyway you have to make those guesses, you have to track
Right.
that when you are making a guess, mark it that I have made a guess.
Right.
That guess could be like logical or reasonable guess,
Right.
mark it 1 star. If it is less reasonable, 2 star, 3 star. And in examination, in last 2 minutes, everybody will mark those 2 extra questions.
Right.
Just attempt those as well to
Yeah.
4 star, 5 star.
Yeah.
And track your record. I mean, how many questions you are getting correct out of those.
Right.
How if you are getting correct, why was your logic working? If your logic was not working, why was it not working?
Right.
So that way you need to train your analytical brain to make those logical guesses, to find those inconsistencies in the question itself, in the paper.
Right.
So that is important. And
Yeah.
third important thing, I think most important.
So 1 second, let me put it in perspective. What you're saying basically is, so the first point that you said is that nobody knows everything.
Right.
So here I think students really make a mistake of thinking that this is also like a college exam where you have to do as like the whole paper, you have to do almost everything and all. That's not what happens. It's a competition exam where you're supposed to not know everything actually.
Yes.
The paper is framed like that. So you work on your core basics and then, and the second point that I really liked is that don't just be happy about the guesses that you've got right. And I like the word that you used, analytical mind. So you have to keep a track of what is your
Right.
guess and what you knew so that you can analyze the paper.
Right.
Unless you analyze and develop that skill of identifying your mistakes, you can't really move
That is the
ahead.
training
Yes.
that
You
you
have
have
to
to
give to
train the
yourself.
brain
Right.
to think in those ways.
Right.
And that is a process again. You cannot do it overnight.
Right.
If you think that you'll do it on the examination day, that is just not going to happen.
Right.
And third important thing is a calm head on your shoulder on examination day is the most important asset. Many people see that paper and they just lose it. I mean, this year 2023 prelims was different prelims.
Yes.
It was difficult paper, definitely.
Yes.
There were a lot of different kinds of questions.
Right.
But the difference is when I got the paper, I knew that everybody has the same paper in front of them and they're panicking.
Exactly.
I just smiled.
Exactly.
Because I knew that everybody's panicking and I'm going to sail through.
Exactly.
You need to have that confidence and calmness with you to treat one question at a time, to treat the question on its merit, and just do it one at a time. Be calm about it, be rational about it, and the confidence that you carry inside the examination hall is important. That will get you on the other side.
Right. So that is really a very good point. Mental health is equally important.
Definitely.
And having a calm mind, not being anxious and not being nervous at that point of time. You have to give it your best when you're writing the exam. So that actually brings me to another point that I want to discuss, which is apart from your journey of UPSC, which has been so long, there is another parallel journey that you made, and that is towards your fitness. And I've seen students not concentrating on what they're eating and how, what their exercises look like, and their health is they get into all sort of habits and everything. So you, on the other hand, have something to tell us about your fitness, because it's important to have both physical and mental well-being in order to really do well in this exam. So do you want to share some light on that?
In my first interview, 2019 attempt, I was 100 kgs plus. And fortunately or unfortunately, the COVID hit us and everybody was locked in their homes and villages. So that time my interview was over and there was 4-month gap before the next interview phase begins. Right. So that time I took to work on myself and decided that yes, I don't have any immediate worries right now. I have given my interview and the rest of the things are far away. So I consciously started working on it. And here also discipline is very important. Eat right and exercise. Right. Again, we don't need to complicate everything. Right. It is simple. If you treat examinations in the most simplest format, again, you will clear. Sometimes we make UPSC very big in our heads, like this is the most toughest exam in India and how will we clear it. In exam also, you'll see the very, very simple basic questions. Right. People will panic and get those wrong, thinking that this is a UPSC question, it must be difficult. Right. The same thing applies here as well. Keep simple, because there are direct dividends. It's not that it is only important in health perspective. It is important for preparation, because that health got me, enabled me to sit for 14 hours a day, increased my concentration and everything that goes with it. It increased my confidence, self-esteem. Right. All those factors ultimately play a crucial role on examination day. And this is a kind of examination where how you feel on that day is important. Everything cumulatively adds up. Right. So I think that journey was important. And in one of my actual interviews, the panel members actually appreciated it. Yeah, no, it is remarkable. They asked me about it.
That how you've kept both the things together. I've seen people usually thinking that let this phase get over, then we'll work on something else, and let that get over. What people don't understand is that things have to happen in a parallel sort of a manner. So you can't take care of your physical health after your exam.
Yeah, it's a half hour a day. Yes. I mean, if your claim is that you are studying 24 hours and you don't have half an hour or 1 hour for your health, well, that's just a lie that you are telling yourself.
Abhishek, even though I think I know the answer, but I would like to know, what is the most important attribute, value that you think is required to do well in this exam and in general? Like, what is one thing that you would say is pertinent for anyone preparing for this exam?
I firmly believe that it is the discipline. Everything else is, for me, secondary. Of course, people will have differing perspective, but other things like temporary motivation or anything else really, that will not serve you in a long term. Right. It's the discipline that gets you through, because it happens with everyone that I don't want to study right now. Right. It's a bad day for me. I'll take a break today and I'll study tomorrow. Right. But if you have that discipline that yes, I know I don't want to study right now, but I have to. Yeah. Because it's my habit, it's my duty, it's whatever you want to tell yourself, but keep that discipline going. Right. And eventually it becomes a habit. Right. Everybody has heard about the 21-day rule. Yes. If you do the things for 21 days, it will become habit.
And then it becomes your character finally.
Yes. Yeah. The discipline is very important and it will serve you ultimately. In one way or the other, if you don't clear this examination, of course discipline discipline is a universal virtue that you can apply to any
and
walk
it's
of life.
not that you just needed discipline to make through this exam. Now you would need discipline to do well in the job that you'll be given, and the responsibilities that will come to your shoulder. And I think these are the traits that continue with you, and somehow you motivate others also to sort of see that what you want is not just the correct book list or the correct coaching or discipline. So we teach so many students, not everyone makes it. A few factors that differentiate, and one of the most important, like you said, is discipline. It is what makes you get up in the morning when you don't want to get up in the morning. It is what makes you sit and study when you don't want to. If your mood is, okay, I want to study a lot today, then you don't need discipline. Then you can go on and on. So that also brings me to how I come into the picture in that sense, that what was your optional and how did you, what is your...
So because of my mathematics background, from first attempt itself, I had mathematics as optional, and I was very confident about it, and there is no shame in admitting, arrogant about it in my initial attempt, that I have done my MSc, I have done very well in my masters, so I will do well here as well.
Right.
But yes, this is a different kind of exam. You don't require MSc level mathematics in every subject, but this is more about practice and algorithmic exam in my opinion. So there I think test series, practice, continuous feedback, and identifying the mistake prone areas is very important, because when you're doing education, or when I was doing masters, if I made mistake, it was not a big deal. My teacher used to correct, no, you have made their mistake, and we used to move on, because that was a different kind of
and also I feel even with your MSc, your exam will be concentrating, say, just on the algebra paper, just on the analysis. So at that time, you are specializing only in that topic. But in a competition exam like this, everything comes together. In fact, the syllabus of maths is about 3 or 4 years of maths honors and MSc sort of put together, and you have to do it in those amount. So one has to go from one topic to another, from applied to theory, and so that requires a different skill set.
Definitely, it requires practice, a lot of practice, because mathematics is such a subject that it has binary kind of marking. So if you get it correct, good. If you don't, you'll straight away go to 0. It's like that. So it requires practice, and more than practice, precision. Where I lacked a lot in my initial attempts, and I suffered like anything, because even though I was better at maths than perhaps many people, but I could not get marks, because I was very I was mistake prone, and that happens. I mean,
yes, you're in a hurry to complete the paper, and one feels, and checking doesn't happen automatically. In fact, some of the answers that I checked for you, I remember spending 1 hour to find out where 2 + 2 = 5 has been an error has been committed, because it's not easy to find out in the kind of questions that we have sometimes. So when I can't identify very quickly where the mistake is, as a student in the exam, you have no way of knowing whether you've done such a mistake or not.
It is a race against time in examination hall.
It is.
That is just no way to check whether you are done correctly. If you have made mistake, that is over.
So let's talk about both the things, Abhishek. Let's talk about how you improved your precision, because this year definitely the score is not out, but you must have done very well, and your paper also went very well, as per what you had told me. So there are two aspects of maths, right? One is the precision, and one is precision and accuracy. One is the presentation. Let's talk about one by one, and what are your inputs for the students who are watching you right now, that how to improve your precision and accuracy, and then we'll go on to the presentation part, right?
For precision, I think 2 things are important. First is, of course, practice. But just doing practice is not enough. It is important for you to identify that mistake, and commit to yourself that when you are giving paper next time, I will be not making same mistake again. So be very careful around that. So one of the areas I was very mistake prone was LPP, which is very easy topic, so to say. But I was continuously making mistakes, some calculation error here or there, and I was getting 0 out of 15. So this time I was very careful when I was attempting those questions. I told myself that it's okay if I spend 1 minute extra, but yes, I'll do it very carefully. I'll use calculator whenever necessary, and ensure that I'm getting all the calculations correct before moving ahead. It's
important to double check right then and there, because later on there is no way to figure out where the mistake will be. So I think you have to be, I was also telling you to be extra cautious about application questions. Yes.
So these topics, it is important. And second, I was tackling, it was use the calculator, because
Yes.
it is such a powerful tool that you are allowed to take inside examination.
Absolutely.
I had no idea before this attempt.
Yeah.
I always relied on my mental calculation, and it
Right.
was a mistake on my part,
Right.
because this is a competitive exam and you have to use all the
Right.
tools at your disposal.
Right.
And I bought the best Casio calculator. I don't remember the name, but just buy it. It's one-time investment. It's
Right.
absolutely worth it.
Right.
It's a very, very powerful tool, and learn how to use it. Spend few hours, few days on it. It is absolutely worth it. You will get accurate answers in very, very short span of time.
Use it to the hilt. Basically, how
Yes.
to double check your answers, and matrices also one can do from there. And there's so
Yes.
many other things.
Spreadsheets. I mean,
Yes.
entire Excel is in that calculator.
Exactly.
You can do all kinds of things on that
Exactly.
calculator, and it is very powerful tool.
Right.
And
And I think if you know that your answer is right, the confidence only to attempt another
Yes,
question really
definitely.
goes up.
Definitely.
Because half the time you are like, I remember a lot of people would do this even in school, that they think the answer is say 1/3. Then they look at the answer, and if it's 1/3, they're very happy, you know, and then it motivates you to do. So if you're very sure with the calculator that you've got a correct answer, the morale that goes up, you know, during that exam, that 3 hours, it's also very important to be very
Definitely.
confident about your answers. So I think calculator, even double checking your answers and all makes a lot of
Yes,
difference.
yes,
And like I liked what you said, that it's binary, because if your final answer is not, say if it's supposed to be 5 and if it's not 5, you're going to get a straight 0. It doesn't matter how well you have written your answers. So 5 means 5 first, and then of course. So I think it is a very important. What is the second aspect of it? What is your take on the presentation part
Right.
of the answers?
See, this is again a competitive exam, and examiner is you don't have access to examiner after the papers are over. So it
Right.
is, I think, important and on your part to make the examiner's job as easy as possible. Make it clearly legible. Yes, answers are very important.
Right.
They are of primacy important. Content is king especially in mathematics. But if you put it properly, if you make it easy for the examiner, so it will create positive impression, and
Right.
it makes it easier on examiner. And I think that person would be more inclined to give you more marks.
Right.
And that was the one area I think, ma'am, you helped me a lot, because there was the simple point is that examiner may not know all the topics because he is expert in some particular area of mathematics,
Right.
and he doesn't know that particular theorem that you may be using.
Right.
So if you mention that theorem in the first few lines that
Right.
I'm going to use this theorem,
Right.
this makes it very, very appealing to the examiner, shows your seriousness,
Right.
and shows that you are a good student. So even if you make mistakes here and there, that examiner may be more inclined to give you half extra mark,
Yeah.
1 extra mark, because of your
Absolutely. Yeah.
better
So there are
presentation.
several ways of doing a particular question. You may be using something else, but if you write down the theorem or the lemma that you're using, then the exam it has to be, answers in maths also have to flow.
Right.
Like everybody talks about answer writing in GS and mains and everything, but maths also requires that skill where the answer has to flow. So there has to be a body, what is given, what you want to show, what are the steps that help you to show what you want to show. So I think that presentation, if it goes up, you're absolutely right. Examiner has to be, you have to tempt the examiner to look at your sheet.
Right.
He is not going to spend 3 hours that you have spent on writing it in reading that sheet, and you can't, and there's also limited space and limited time for the examiner also to sort of go through this thing. So I think you've made a valid point that presentation does make a lot of difference.
And
So-
personal experience as well. When my presentation was good, and I knew that I had not done well in that paper, still I got better marks than what I was expecting.
right.
Possibly it was because of presentation.
Right.
In initial few questions only, examiner might realize that yes, I'm a good student
Yes.
because I have written everything very clearly.
Yes.
And then he might have given me more marks.
Right.
There is no way of knowing, but still.
Yes, there is no way of knowing. That is a very, but this is a universal appeal. So now when we check an answer sheet where it's well written, you've written it in steps. So a lot of people ask, is there step marking? My answer is, have you written it in steps? If I can see the steps only, then there is step marking. You can't write a whole paragraph. So I think your presentation had really improved towards the end. The answers that I saw were very well written. They have to be obviously written in a way that you are understanding the question, but there has to be a flow to the question, I think, and that really made a lot of difference. So that is good to know. And what is your advice to people who are writing, because you are like a, I might say that, pre-expert, because you've cleared all the prelims that you've given till now, so the pre is just around the corner. So any specific advice you would want to give for students who are writing prelims this year?
apart from what I've already said, please just give it everything that you have right now, because a lot of time, there is not much time left. So revise and give mock test, and mock test, please give it as seriously as you can. Please train your brain in whatever limited time that you have, because ultimately that will give you confidence
Right.
about writing the examination, and you will go in with that confidence that yes, I will clear it, and you will come out clearing one. And yes, another very important thing, please do not check your GS paper in those 2 hours. My very good friend last year, he made that
Oh.
mistake. He called me after the GS paper and he said, I'm not giving CSAT paper because it went horribly wrong. And he went in the CSAT paper with that mindset. He failed in CSAT. He cleared GS with flying colors, like 110 marks.
Oh.
This year he got rank, fortunately.
Nice.
But yes,
It's heartbreaking to actually see, and so
Yes.
that's why we have these interactions, so that people can learn from
Yes.
mistakes that previous people, like, so I always tell them, make your own mistakes, mistakes that people make, why don't you just learn from them? And so I think that's a very valid point. Don't check your GS and don't go with
Yes.
that mindset. I think you've
please,
already
you
spoken
don't
about.
know about how your GS has went.
Correct.
Because what happens is, after coming out of the GS paper, you only remember things you have done extraordinarily well, or things you have done
bad.
extraordinarily bad.
Absolutely.
You don't remember the bulk that is in the middle.
Absolutely.
So don't panic. Just give the CSAT paper. After 5 o'clock, you can check.
Yeah, correct. And so basically what you're saying is, even in the limited time that's left, whatever people are doing, that should be done thoroughly, instead of doing
Yes.
everything and not remembering anything and
Please
not
don't-
analyzing.
Please don't start any new material or
Right.
anything like that.
Right.
Broaden your horizons as much as possible, yes.
Yes.
But revise whatever we have already studied from, like basics.
Right.
Whatever source you have studied from, it doesn't matter. If you're weak in some particular concept you are not understood, please go to YouTube. There are hundreds of videos available there.
Right.
There are people who are explaining it. Just watch that video and move on.
So basically, use of technology, you've given us
Yes.
2 aspects. One is using the calculator in the maths optional, which you should be thoroughly aware of all the aspects and how you can utilize it maximum. And second, you're saying, if you don't understand something, there are so many ways of understanding that concept, that
Definitely,
basics. So working on your basics and being disciplined, I think these are the 2 mottos that you've given us, Abhishek. So thanks a lot, Abhishek. It was a pleasure meeting you as always. And I hope and I wish you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm sure you'll really do us proud and do well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Abhishek.